you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Are you okay? You good? Hey,
Yeah.
you good?
Yeah.
I have Matt joining me here today. Matt, thank you so much for jumping on. I know that this is not something that's necessarily easy to talk about and to relive.
Yeah.
Speaking from personal experience, I've been there as in a very similar situation to yours. We just saw the video, the intro clip where
Okay.
you're losing it, going into the kink, and I know the feeling. But one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you is really just to kind of get your insight and just kind of talk to me about what was going through your head, what was going through your mind. What? So, first question. Let me reframe that. And by the way, everybody, if this video sucks, tell me, because this is the first one that I'm doing like this. And if it's Matt that sucks, we'll tell him. So don't worry.
It doesn't matter. I'm not on the payroll, so
Yeah.
you got to roll with
So,
it.
so walk me through that session. What was it like? What were you feeling before you got into the car? What were you feeling throughout the session itself, up until that point? Right?
Yeah, it's a good setup. I think, I don't know what the frame up was, but I've been to this track many times for years, hundreds of laps. I consider it my home track, much like Luan does and our other buddies. The weekend was going as planned. I would say, I got 3 pages of notes here in preparation to make sure I remembered, because I wanted to do the due diligence to make sure everybody, if you go through this, let me tell you, it's okay on the other side. It sucks, but as long as you're healthy and you're able-bodied and you didn't take any serious injury, that's all that matters, is you stay safe. But leading up to Sunday, where we were flying Saturday. It was a perfect day. Everybody was laughing, everybody's having a great time. Our buddy Mike was sending it in his car, just seeing him giggle again. It was just it feels like forever, because I moved several states away. So this was a great time to hang out with buddies. So Saturday's great, awesome, great night. We do everything we always do: Domino's Pizza, taste some craft beers. We're having a great time. Everybody's cognizant that we're here to have a great time, but you got to be responsible. None of us ever get out of control. It's a very controlled fun, but it was a good time. And
we don't
I
get out
felt
of control anymore.
Right.
We made some very poor decisions in our past younger years when we would go, but this was not that.
Yeah, evil versions of ourselves that we have since removed from our lives. But at the end of the day, it was all things considered, was pretty normal. So I woke up, and one thing I did notice when I woke up is that, I'd come from the South and we had just got done with spring. So I had a hellacious spring with allergies. And we get up to Wisconsin, and I notice the trees are just budding, and I'm like, oh no, I didn't prepare for that. So the next gas run, I dealt with it all day Saturday. But the last time we fueled up, I grabbed some allergy medicine, and I was like, I was struggling with that a little bit on Saturday. It's just oh my gosh, my eyes are itchy, all the standard symptoms, right? So I took the allergy meds Sunday morning. I didn't feel out of it. I'm not talking Benadryl. I wasn't packing a bottle of Benadryl or something. It was just Zyrtec.
Yeah.
And but I didn't sleep well because I was stuffed up, and I could tell I was tired. That's the one big thing I would say for Sunday, is that my body was tired. And what I didn't acknowledge or didn't really understand until several days later is that my brain was tired. And it just was slowed down because it did not get rest the night before. And that was actually a relatively, I would say, conservative night, compared to what we've done in previous years. But it was, it was fun looking at track video, and we had a couple other buddies join us. Cameron, Justin came to the house. It was awesome. And we had my brother in there and his wife and their friends. It was awesome. And But anyway, I'll get back to your question. So that morning, we went out. Track was great. It was rubbered in. Like, wasn't like any bad weather or anything. The track was beautiful. Road America does a great job, like treating the track. It was perfect conditions. So we were literally sending it. So every time we got out of the car post session, it was kind of like, how'd you do? You know, and like, we'll see, like, you know, did Luan or I or Budney, like, who threw down their hot lap, you know, for their personal best. And,
Yeah, we were running
but we were
pretty
just
consistently close to each other really throughout the entire weekend. Um,
100%.
it was fun to get out there and uh, Mike and I are on some stickier tires, which allows us to keep up with you because you're in a ZL1. And it was really fun to see, like, okay, did we get close to Matt's time? How did everybody do? I know Mike was shooting for a personal best. He had set a goal for himself. And we had our friend Paul there, Dempsey. He had
Yep.
it's his first track day ever, so
Yeah.
it was a
First.
great environment for everybody. But go ahead.
It was definitely in the tops for
Yeah,
weekends. I remember when Matt, Carden and Myron and Nick were all there. Like that was like
yeah,
the
multiple
best.
garages. Yeah,
But you know, when we had like 6 or 7 cars there, 6, 7, it was great. But I'll get to the point because that's what the viewers want to see. But um,
they
you know,
already tuned out. Just don't worry, just
yeah,
keep going.
they're just at this point it's just friends watching. But you know, I would say like the first 2 sessions, awesome, green track, everything was great. We were sending it. We went to lunch, had a wonderful lunch. And as we were coming back from lunch, I was just like, man, I'm feeling really tired. And I wish I would have listened to myself when I said that. Like, man, if I could go back, that's the one thing I would have done is I just would have like called it. I would have said like, no, I'm tired, you know, but I for the first time ever, I've been on this track, I don't know, probably 8, 9 weekends, I think 10 weekends at this point with MVP. That was the first time I ever after lunch I went to my truck in my back seat, threw my back seats up in my truck and I laid on the ground and just like tried to take a 20-minute nap. Never done that. Should have paid attention to that. I was just like, man, I'm just really, really tired. So you fast forward during the lap, you know, just like the session that morning, I was missing a few apexes here and there that I normally don't miss. I usually hit those like, you know, I was getting really aggressive. I was hitting inside cement curbs and the hurry downs. I was, yeah, I mean, you take them every lap, but you're more aggressive than me.
Yeah.
You're also more, you know, you have more experience than I do. But you know, I was throwing this car around and she was handling it. It was beautiful. It was fun. I was laughing. I was having a great time. And everybody I took with me, including my brother, we were all having great times. And, you know, especially since we did a quick, it's in one of the videos that Luan's posted about rear suspension of BMR. It really fixed the steering correction needs. Like the car's inputs responded better to the way I drive. And you know, I wasn't fighting the car as much, so it was way more surgical and how I was approaching each corner. I was hitting corner. It was really weird though, because that session I was hitting corners I normally don't hit, and I was missing corners that I don't even think about. Like I've done them so many times that it was just
Sure.
like, oh yeah, I came into one. I think I started braking at the 200 marker. I mean, you have the video, you can probably find it, but I was braking so late. Like I was, you know, like, hey, let's go. You know,
Yeah, and you were
I'm in a
nailing them,
Miata.
but you were by no means all over the place on track or
Yeah.
anything like that. And yeah, you mentioned the BMR rear sway bar, because we did do that upgrade because the ZL1 tends to push a little bit. Now it's a
Yep.
ZL1 with one LE arrow that you had, so you didn't. It's not a ZL1 one LE that has the Multimatic shocks and suspension and different sway bars and things like that. So it tends to push a little bit, and we mitigated that or attempted to correct that with that BMR rear sway bar. And you were on top of it, man. Your laps were really good.
Yep.
I was behind you most of that session, and nothing that I saw ahead of me was saying, "Man, he's all over the place." So,
Yeah,
and
you know, and One thing I did notice last year when I was tired and I was pushing, I actually cooked the back brakes in a Camaro. If you cook the back brakes in your Camaro, 6th gen Camaro, uh, the car's doing too much to compensate for your driving. So
Yes.
I did. It was literally like the second to last session that I was also tired last year. Maybe it's part of getting older. I don't know, but it was like the second to last session last year too that I cooked the back brakes. I had several sets of spare brakes, so I just threw another set on, and we didn't really figure that out until like a couple months later. It was like, oh, that was the traction control.
Yeah.
Even though I was in race mode, it still was kicking in to save my life. So,
Yeah.
um,
For those
you know,
that aren't aware, PTM race still introduces a small level of traction control, and Matt was pushing it so hard. Now this is last year. Matt was pushing it so hard that he was engaging. He was overdriving the car. Let's just call it what
yep,
it was. You're
yep,
overdriving the car. The PTM
totally
was
on it.
kicking in, and it does that by adjusting the brake pressure at the rear to help stabilize the car, which cooked your brakes. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. So, fast forward to this. I'm missing turns I normally don't miss. Oh, like I'm late braking, missing apexes. I'm getting frustrated at this point. So I noticed that it's starting to compile. And in the moment, like I didn't recognize it. So maybe you're a better driver than I am, or anybody else watching. Like I should have been paying attention to those cues. I wasn't. I've never driven fatigued. I'm not an endurance racer. I'm not a professional driver. This was for fun to hang out with my friends, and
Yeah, yeah. Well,
it's adrenaline
even
rush. And
even professional racers end up crashing, but yeah, it's one of those things. Driving fatigued sucks, and I've been there.
yeah, yeah. So what? I had a really good lap, and that was through traffic. I got really good point buys. I was feeling really good. I got a reset at 14. I had the front straight, full speed. I was at the proper braking zone for my car. I hit one, I hit three. I was feeling it, and anybody that's done Road America, like you get into this rhythm, everything's quiet. You're just like sending it, right? And so, I go through the carousel and I'm like, these tires are like, it says warm. I say like, I'm going to push a little harder and find out, I know that Cameron's riding with me. And Cameron, when you watch this, like, I don't worry. I wasn't gambling with your life or mine. Like I love my life. I didn't want
Yeah,
anything to happen. Um,
I'm
but I
just
was like,
glad he
this,
only lost his arm and nothing worse
yeah,
happened.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
I mean,
kidding,
minor,
everybody.
minor
Cameron's
injury.
totally fine.
I was coming through the carousel and I started pushing a little harder. And this was the first time in my life I ever second guessed the kink at full speed. Like in rain, I'd be lying if I said I didn't like quadruple guess myself. Is this the right entry point? Where's the water? Where's it pooling? Where's the race line? Like there's several times I've done this track in every sort of weather. It even flurried
It
one
did.
year on us. So,
Yep.
um, like I've done this track so many times that I was just like, okay, I'm not expecting, this crazy, but I was watching the braking zone. My eyes went over for, millisecond. I looked over, see braking zone, said, okay, good marker. When I went right with my eyes to look at the entry to the apex, something triggered in my brain that I was too early.
Yeah.
And so like I hesitated, and you'll see that in the video that the car kind of goes in and then recorrects and then goes in again. Well, I was actually at a pretty good entrance speed for me. There's guys that'll take it at 120, 130, 140 depending on their car. um, for me, I'm comfortable like me pushing's like 115 to 120 like is very uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
over 115.
And for those wondering, Matt was on OEM supercar threes,
Yes.
staggered sizes, 305 in the rear, 285 in the front, just regular supercar three, not a 3R, not on the 20-inch wheels. So that I'm just giving a little more context as to
Yeah.
for those who really know the vehicle,
Yeah.
can speak to the
It's
tire a little bit.
perfect because if I can help somebody prevent this from happening to them, like we're doing God's work here, like that's where I'm at. So there's plenty of times I took that kink in the last, 24, 48 hours of that event where I was sliding through the kink. And
Sure.
trust me, that's a pucker factor. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah.
I've been in the fire service for a long time too. I'm retired now, but like I had pucker factors there. This is also a pucker factor. Like everything's tight. You're like, hold on,
Yeah.
like here we go. And I cleanly got through it. This time that like, half a second hesitation put my entrance way too late. And as soon as, the front tire hit the grass, I didn't, from what I can recall, and unfortunately my GoPro in car was not working, but I didn't do any severe correction. I just kind of tried to ride it straight. As soon as that rear tire hit the grass, the car it just snapped. And at that point, like in the moment, I'm not going to lie to you, I was like, let's go. Like, I'm going to save this. And, I counter steered. If you look at the PDR film, like, I think I actually got the
Yeah.
wheel around a
So
couple times.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
So one of my next questions was going to be, what went through your mind as the car started to rotate? Right. You kind of led into that. You had that here we go moment. So yeah, the car started to rotate, and in your head, you're going, all right, I've maybe not been in this particular moment before, but I can save this, right? So then
Yes.
what do you start? What's going through your mind then?
Yeah. So, I'm an adrenaline junkie by nature. Just That's just part of me. But
Sure.
I don't lock up. It's fight or flight. Like I'm gonna fight my way out of the situation. Like I counter steered, I feathered the throttle, and then when I felt like the rear end was getting ahead of me, I did try to apply some brake. Um, I didn't try to throttle through the turn. I've watched this video now hundreds of times. I still wonder, like, and by the way, like someone did almost exactly what I did in the IMSA race, and they went straight down the grass, and I'm like, what if I had just gone straight? Could I have saved? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so you second guess yourself so many times. Like, what could I have done differently to save
I
my car?
know.
Because
I've
God
been there.
knows, and my buddies know, my fiance knows, my daughter. Like, I loved that car. Like, I loved that car. Al gave me such an awesome experience. You flew with me to Detroit to get it. We drove
Yeah.
it back. The car was full of life and memories
Find
that
that
I
video
plan to.
right here.
Yeah, I plan to like give this car to my daughter someday when
Yeah.
I'm no longer breathing on this planet. But so anyway, back to the turn. I felt the back end getting ahead of me. So then I tried to throttle into it. What I didn't see, because all of my vision's effectively gone, I'm kicking up a severe wake of dirt and grass and, dust. I can't see out of my side window. By the way, I'm wearing a Hans, a fire suit, a helmet, gloves,
Yeah.
racing shoes. So I'm fully equipped. And see, with the Hans, it's a little limiting for sideways, but I know my head was this way, and I was turning the steering wheel, trying to counter what I was feeling in my body. And
Right. You're
through
looking to where you want it
a
to
hundred
end up.
percent.
Yeah.
I realized that our bodies lie to us,
Mhm.
like if without our eyes. And I had that same kind of sensation because I felt like I actually was saving it. I'm pretty sure you could hear me scream like, "Let's go!" Like I got this, like in the video. I don't know if you can,
I don't know if you can,
um,
but yeah, go
but
on.
I was confident that I was going to save this. And then all of a sudden, it's like the dust cleared,
Yeah.
and I look forward, and all I see is my direction that I'm going and a cement wall. So at that point, like, I'm not saving it. My brain's rapid, and then it just shuts down. And, like I didn't let go of the steering wheel, everything I do on my sim rig. Like I've told every kid that's ever got on my sim rig, my daughter, soon to be stepsons, neighbor kids, nephew, nieces, like, take your hands off the steering wheel if you're going in the grass. Like, just let go, because this, fanatic wheel base is going to break your
Right.
wrists. Like, just let go. Um, and I didn't let go of the steering wheel. I held on all the way to that cement wall. Um, it was an intense hit, but I will say, like, for as hard as we hit, because I've asked crash experts, I've asked fellow emergency responders that do crash investigations. It's somewhere between 45 and 60 is kind of the general range, I would say, that I hit that wall. with Cameron in my passenger seat, which I still feel terrible about. So I'm sorry again, Cameron. But we hit that wall, and my brain just like completely shut off. Outside of, is Cameron okay?
Okay, and with that, I'm gonna share my screen, and we're gonna relive this moment. So sorry for that, but
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Are you okay? You good? Hey,
Yeah.
you good?
Yeah.
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm so sorry.
I'm good. Don't worry about it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
that was hard to listen to and watch from the outside. I have a little bit of a different perspective because I've been in the same scenario, wrecked through the kink. There's a saying where if you do it long enough, it's not if, it's when. But the difference here is that, like, when I wrecked, I was pushing it too hard, too early, too soon.
Yeah.
But I was alone. I was solo. And I know that when I take a passenger with me, I don't go 10 tenths. And I know you don't either. But you had Cameron with you. And so you just watched that, you just relived it. Like, tell me what was going through. Oh, my cat's here. That's cool. Tell me what was going through your mind. I know you said you kind of blanked out, but go ahead. I'll let you.
Yeah. So you can hear the screeching of the tires as I cross back across the track. And at that point, the dust had cleared. I saw the cement wall. So at that point, I'm thinking, just slow down as much as I can. It's just try to reduce the impact that we're going to face. The whole time I'm like, I'd be lying to say that I remember every single thing that was through my brain at this point, 'cause it's been a couple months. But I certainly was not trying to set records. I know
Yeah.
that. I know I'm not even capable of that in my abilities of driving, but also that my car is not set up to set a record for the ZL1.
Sure.
But also, like, Cameron and I were having a great time, and there were several times where he was hooting and hollering, or I hit a turn right, and that's encouragement. I love it. So anytime I can bring a passenger, I love it, just to show them. But like you said, you're not going 10 tenths. Like, this was not even the fastest I had hit that kink before. I'm pretty sure I hit it with my older brother faster the day before, and I touched those inside curbs. So, like, it was just the misjudgment of that corner. So I think my brain was a little bit in shock of, I can't believe I screwed this up.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, for doing it so many times the right way. And as soon as I saw the cement wall, all I was thinking about was, stop this car before it hit the wall.
Yeah.
As soon as we hit that wall, it was immediately Cameron, are you okay? Please, God, be okay.
Yeah, because what you can't see in the PDR video is you had full airbag deployment.
Yes.
Full, like curtains, belt, like the belt cartridges fired, your knee, like, full, everything. So
Yeah.
both passenger and driver side. So that's what you don't see in the PDR video. I really wish your GoPro hadn't died.
I know.
You should do it again. Just do it over.
Yeah, let's not.
But yeah, so and the PDR speedometer data lies a little bit because I think it shows your impact at like 30, but your wheels are you're moving sideways at that point. You're
And my
not.
wheels are stopped.
Yeah, you're not traveling. You weren't doing 30 when you hit that wall. You were going much faster. True speed, who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, so I keep pulling you away from it. So yeah,
No, no,
so
no.
what was that
It's
like,
all right.
like
So
after?
like it was just I at that point I haven't hadn't even moved my own legs. I didn't even know the airbags went off, to be honest with you. Like I wear glasses obviously, and I had them inside my helmet, not these, a pair that fits inside my helmet. Well, those were all jacked up. I just got hit in the face with an airbag, and
Yeah,
I was pretty well restrained. With the Camaro has great safety mechanisms, and I had a Hans on. But immediately I was thinking, "Oh my God, Cameron, are you okay?" And immediate response from him, "Yeah, I'm good.
yeah,
I'm good." And then it was just a complete adrenaline dump,
yeah,
dopamine dump. I mean, it was like I just remember like I got tunnel vision and everything got super small. Light kind of faded from my eyes. I definitely got a concussion. I'm someone that played football and lacrosse and wakeboard and snowboard. I've had plenty of concussions. I knew I was concussed, but also I just wanted to make sure that he was okay. So he was yelling at me. I didn't even hear him. I think it was tinnitus, whatever it is, but all I heard was my heartbeat in my
yeah,
ears. And then finally when I could hear him, he's like, "Are you okay?" And he's hitting me, and I'm like, "Yeah, dude." I'm like, "Yeah, I just asked you if you're okay." So I'm like, "I'm good." And then he's like, "Fingers, toe, like you can move your toes." And I'm like, "I didn't even check that." As
yeah,
the first responder for a long time, I'm like, "Oh my Lord, like it's all gone," when I'm in the situation.
yeah.
So
Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, as Mike Tyson once said.
that's right. That's right. So I moved my toes, I moved my fingers, could feel everything. I started looking down, and then all of a sudden I see I got a white curtain over my legs. I got, a big airbag that's not fully deflated here. I got, curtains like just white over here, and then white down under my arm. Like it was just like white everywhere. It's just pillows. So, once he said, "Yeah, I'm sure I'm okay," and then he's like, "My finger, hurts." And then he holds it up and it's kind of at like a wonky angle. I'm like, "Eesh." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, that's probably broken." I don't care how many times you see that stuff. Our eyes go to it, but you don't want to see it. But he's like, "Yeah, I think I maybe hurt my finger, maybe dislocated it, maybe broke it. But otherwise I'm okay." So that was obviously a huge concern of mine too, because when you take passengers out on track, I think a lot of us, at least how I did, was when I started novice, and then we had done this a couple different groups. I love MVP; they're definitely my favorite. But it was I had worked up. I had done ride with instructors, get feedback, learn, get better. I'd gone through the process of like graduating to different levels, and I truly cherished and honored the ability to share this hobby and sport with other people. And if you haven't watched Luan's video, I'm sure he can take it up here. But like a gal that I went to school with, basically my whole life, grew up in the same neighborhood. She took her husband there, and he sells cars. And he's like, "I never understood why people like go after these cars so aggressively." And then he got to see riding with Luan like what these cars are capable of, and
he had a pretty
like
good time, and much like you, the reason I love bringing passengers with me is not to show off. It's not like,
no,
"Oh, look what I can do." It's more about introducing them into the hobby that we love and into the sport that we love. And, just like somebody who loves golf is like, "Oh, you gotta come hit the greens with me," or whatever they call the links
yeah,
with me. I don't know. Not a golfer.
it's
But
close.
yeah, whatever. Or you're the surfers. Come on, dude, let's go hit the waves. You want to share your passion with somebody so that they can see it from your perspective. Because for anybody that's done this, there's no way to describe what is happening to your body as you're going through corners at umpteen G's to somebody who hasn't experienced it and who hasn't done it before. We love sharing it because not only do we get to, you know, have that person experience something that they likely have never experienced before in a car, but also it might get them to jump and buy a sports car and start doing track days. And it doesn't matter if you're in a Honda Civic or a Ferrari 458 Italia. Like you can have fun being out on track
100%.
if this is what you like to do. So
Yeah, and I think you nailed it with that. I think, you know, I grew into this passion because of Mike's influence, your influence. Like this is something that I look forward to it every year. Like, which tracks are we doing? And I just absolutely cherished every moment. And so I certainly wasn't trying to show off. I all I cared about is that we all had fun. And Cameron is like salt of the earth, good dude. Brings us food, lives close to the track. He flew us around 2 years ago around the track, so we got to fly the
yeah,
track
see that
i-
video here.
in a Piper. Like he was just awesome.
Yeah,
And
great
and
dude.
here, like, I introduced him to a wall. Like, I at that point, like, I was probably at that point my brain had shut off, that we were okay, and it was just kind of like, all right, breathe. And now I knew I had a journey in front of me. So um, you know, I knew we had to go to the medical tent because Luan had done this in 2020 at the peak of COVID. And I mean, it wrecked all of us. I mean, it certainly wrecked him, but it wrecked all of us because we hadn't seen each other in
Yeah.
a month. It was just like the world was weird. And we all went through that. Everyone on this watching this knows, like, everything was just weird, you know? And
That year sucked. My uncle died, my dog died, and then I lost my car.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it
but
was just
anyway,
just
digress.
a so I actually knew because of his video and going through that experience with him, and and talking and texting and catching up in his garage or my garage, like, we just figured out, like, I learned from him. So, which many of you that watch these videos do too. Like, everything I've learned about this car, I've learned from Luan. So that's not the only reason he's my friend. He's actually a really good dude, believe it
Oh,
or not.
thanks, man.
Like, he's not just a pretty face on camera. um
Not that either.
uh,
So
well,
so I'll jump in here with from my perspective,
yeah.
right? I was behind you, not directly behind you, but I was far enough behind. Like I was close enough, but far enough away that I saw you disappear into the kink, and then I saw all the dust, the cloud of dust, debris, smoke coming from the tires, the dirt, the grass. And I was like, oh no. Oh, I hope he's got this. And as soon as I turned the corner, I could see, I literally saw you hit the wall and your car bounce back. Like you hit hard, right? You hit and you bounced back. Um, and I drove through that. And you can see it in my video where I don't think I've ever downshifted into third more angry than ever. And it wasn't anger at you. It wasn't, it was just one of those moments like, oh, man, like, because like you're such a good dude, and this car, I know how much that car means to you, and I know how much this hobby means to you, and that weekend means to you. And I was like, oh man, like that's the last thing I wanted to see, right? But because of my experience when I hit the wall, the first thing I did was get off the track. Well, they did a waving black flag, so everybody had to get off regardless because of the severity. I mean, you probably moved those walls. I know I moved two of those walls when I hit, and you hit pretty hard. Um, so as soon as I pulled into the paddock, I got out, took my helmet off. My truck was still attached to the trailer. So I hopped in your truck. I grabbed your truck and drove to the medical facility at Road America, which for anybody that hasn't been in Road America's facility is top
Oh,
notch.
it's
Like
insane. Yeah.
just insane. It's fantastic. I've been to a ton of different tracks around the country. Road America's is up there, top three at least. So I went to the medical facility. I knew exactly where to go. Like if you've never been there before, you can't exactly find somebody in there, but I knew where to find you. Um, and I hung out with you, and I just wanted to make sure you guys were okay. So I hung out there for a while until they cleared you, and then and Cam, and then we hopped in your truck, and then we went back to the paddock where we had the garages, the Haggerty garages, which are not sponsored by this event. In fact, you used OpenTrack, and we'll get to that too. But and we saw, like, as I was driving to the medical facility, I saw the tow truck drive by with your car on the flatbed, and it looked nasty. So once I gathered you and Cam and we went back to our garages, that's when we really started to kind of assess the damage and looking over the car and things like that. And I'll probably throw up some slides of the damage now that everything's settled. But I know I offered you the keys to my car for session 4. And I did that because you were the first person to offer me the keys to your car in 2020 when I wrecked mine. That was the next day. And, I had time to cool down, but uh, that's one of those things, like, if you don't get back on the horse, you might never get back on the horse. And we'll touch on that a little bit too. But actually, let's dive into it. So, what are your plans? I know you haven't replaced the Camaro yet. I don't know
Have
what
not.
your plans are for the next car. And really, when do you plan on getting on the track the next time?
Yeah, so well, I have the benefit of having you as a best friend. So, my next time that I'll get to experience a track is Coda, with Chin.
Coda,
So
baby!
I haven't seen that track yet, and I was intending to drive that track. Unfortunately, I didn't, unplanned rapid disassembly of my car, I think
Yep.
is what the term is.
Yes.
Um,
Rapid
you know,
unscheduled disassembly.
Yes, there it is. Even better. This was going to be a 2-track year for me, because I knew that I would be asking my girlfriend's hand in marriage, and
What?
so yeah,
Just kidding.
so
He's engaged, ladies,
yeah,
or
yeah.
lady who watches this, and fellas, he's engaged.
There's probably no women watching this. Let's be honest.
No.
But yeah, so I was planning on running Coda as well, and obviously that changed. So I'd be lying if I said I haven't been looking at cars every single day. My gal is amazing, and she also agrees. Like, yeah, I mean that's part of you. Like, don't let that go. So I'm going between like dedicated track car, not streetable, versus a streetable car. So I for sure gonna get another car. If I'm gonna give any hints to it, I'm leaning heavily towards either a full track setup, like a couple of our buddies have that are consistent with MVP as well. Whether a TA car or something like along that line, or which, by the way, I'm nowhere near experienced enough to drive something like that. It would be a very much a learning
Okay,
experience. I'd
most people just
probably
throw
downgrade
themselves into it.
myself just to just to make sure I understand and learn. But I'm also leaning towards C8Z06. I used to, still am. I'm in love with the 911 GT3 and the GT2 RS. Like, I just love them. I thought they were the best sounding car every time I gave them a point by. Until like mid Ohio, and all of a sudden it was like two Z06s. They would just both like in sync, like boom, 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 like as they're downshifting next to me. I'm like, "Oh, I need that in my life."
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we all do. My vote is
yeah,
Z06 so that I can
yeah,
drive it. But yeah,
yeah. And then obviously now
biased.
there's this new version of the C8 that's out. That's like, I'm like, do I want the beefy V8 sounds, or do I want a pasta rocket? Like some linguini in the
Yeah,
exhaust, like.
yeah,
So there's
yeah.
all these things going through my head. I have, life happening as well, and I respect that, and I'm responsible and I'm old enough now to know that, like, this isn't more important than my family, but
Yeah.
also that I do have a very supportive partner in life, that she wants me to go and continue to experience this hobby. I wasn't gonna let it go anyway, so I'm glad we had an accord there, but she's wonderful. But my point to this is, eventually I'll get another car.
Okay.
Every time I see a C8 Z06, though, I'm kind of like, I think that's the one. At this point, I'm just choosing color because it'll be a full aero C8 Z06. And, if I want to be really stupid, maybe try to pitch for, the cheapest ZR1 I could find someday, but it's probably not going to happen in my lifetime.
That's okay.
I
Just get
missed
the
out.
Z06.
If I find the right track setup for something, I'll probably execute now and
All
just
right.
buy it in
Yeah.
cash. Not worry about
There
it.
you go. Do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned buying it in cash. By the way, I'm going to cut out 99% of what you've said this entire
100%.
time, and I'm just gonna. It's really just a video about me.
Yeah.
But no. Speaking of just buying it in cash, so you did have track insurance,
Yes.
and you went through OpenTrack, which is a great company. Um, when I wrecked my 2018 back in 2020, I had Haggerty track insurance. You went through OpenTrack. I use OpenTrack regularly now as well. They're a Minnesota-based company,
Yep.
which is kind of cool to, for those that don't know, I'm in Minnesota. I'm originally from the Metro Detroit area. Matt, you're a Minnesota grown boy. Now you're in Arkansas.
Yep.
Uh, all that aside, what was it like dealing with OpenTrack? Because I know a lot of people have purchased OpenTrack and never used it. And ultimately, that's what you want to do. That's what insurance is for. You buy it and you don't use it. Unfortunately, you bought it and you used it. So can you talk a little bit about the experience with OpenTrack? I know in my video I talked about my experience with Haggerty. Was it similar? Well, for those that haven't seen it, just kind of talk through
Yeah.
what your experience was like, what that was like making, phone calls or emails, or how it was handled for those wondering, if I'm using OpenTrack, what does that look like?
So I took 3 pages of notes to make sure that I was accurate for your
Sure.
viewers in terms
Yeah.
of dates. Not going to go through all the phone calls and emails because if you're like me, I was emotionally attached to that car. So I was a nightmare for any service provider at the beginning of the process because I was like, okay, how much is it to fix? And did I bend the frame? I know the airbags are going to add a lot of costs, but like, can you save my car?
Yeah.
It was very much like a family member to me. I know it sounds weird; it's an
No,
inanimate
it's
object,
not. I
but
think a lot of people who watch this, a lot of people who are subscribed to my channel completely understand the emotional connection that we as car enthusiasts, that bond that we have.
yeah,
It's it is like a family member, and a lot of times I get shit for it. My wife jokes with me all the time, just like, you've got pictures of your car on your phone, more pictures of your car on your phone than you do of me. And so, like,
yeah,
we get it, my viewers get it, the car community in general gets
yeah. I absolutely cherished that car, and it was to me, it was an heirloom, that I was going to pass
it. Yeah.
down. But so like fast forward through the event. I'd be remiss if I didn't call out, Luan, Mike, Cameron, even though he had a busted finger. We had Dempsey there. We had Justin, another friend we've met through Luan. Awesome kid, dude. Not kid. Sorry, man. You're
Everybody's
younger.
a to
You're
us,
younger
we're
than
old.
me now, dude. I'm old.
Yeah.
Um, but just like everybody just stepped up, got my car loaded for me. My now fiance flew up and met me so that I wasn't driving alone with a concussion, 12
Yeah.
hours from Wisconsin to Arkansas. Um, I
Which
mean,
I knew about before you did,
yeah,
because she did not want me to tell you, because she thought you would convince her to not come or
yeah.
something like that. I'm paraphrasing myself at this point, but it
And
was
now
something
that,
around.
yeah, 100%. And now that I'm a few months removed, honestly, the worst part of this entire experience was having to call her and having to call my daughter and be like, hey, I'm okay. And when you start with that sentence, you don't like in your brain, you think that's right. I think, especially for dudes, so like, hey, I'm good.
Yeah.
But, and that but is like, could be like traumatic for your partner. And it was tough. Like that was the hardest part of the whole thing. But anyway, wonderful gal flies up. It was already deal was already sealed in my heart and brain anyway. But I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
she flew halfway across the country to come back
Yeah.
with me.
We get it. You're in love.
Yeah,
Back
great.
to
So
open track.
cool. Back to open track. Okay, here we go. You can cut that out.
No,
Okay,
I'm leaving it as raw.
yeah,
This is
so
not
just
scripted. We didn't script this. You
no,
took
it's not
notes. I
scripted. You're like,
took
hey, dude, you want to
questions, but
like,
there's no
can I
scripts.
interview you for my channel? I'm like, dude, anything to help the channel. Like, I'm totally will.
My
And
tens
your
of
viewers, by the
viewers
way, we're
are,
all
yeah,
like the same, cut from the same cloth, right? We
for
love
sure.
our cars. We love engineering. We love, how these visceral experiences that bring us joy in life, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So love you all. Okay, so open track. I was a nightmare to them, I think, for the first couple days. But here's what I would tell you: I filed the claim, so it took me a day to get home. We went to bed that night. I met my gal the next day. We drove back down to Arkansas. I did not file a claim, so I came back home with the car on the trailer, and I did not file the claim yet. The next day, I still had a day off from work, which is weird because I normally don't give myself an extra buffer day. So call it divine intervention. I don't know, but my employer's really flexible anyway. But I was like, hey, I crashed. I have to file a claim. They're like, okay, just go to the website, do this. So OpenTrack just sent me to their website. Luan said that this is what he did with Haggerty. It was a very similar process from what he explained with Haggerty. I went on. I said I would have claim at this track. This was the circumstances that led up to the event. How many times I go on track? Like, did I have traction control on? They asked me a lot of these questions, but it never felt like criminal. Like I've been involved in a motor vehicle accident before, and my own insurance company treated me like a criminal. Um, but this was a totally different experience. I didn't know what to expect. Like I said, like I actually did play without traction control, no nannies on Saturday. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do it Sunday when I was tired. So if I did anything to like help me in this process, I had some level of governance on my car still. So
Sure.
because literally everyone I talked to asked if traction control was off. Um, so OpenTrack, I filed the claim on that Tuesday, which was May 5th. I crashed on May 3rd. Um, they basically told me take it to a shop of my choosing. And so that's
Okay.
where I immediately called Luan and said, should I leave this in Wisconsin if they could fix it? That could be a nightmare. Actually, I think you told me that, like, no, bring it home
Yeah.
because, if they can fix it, then it's close and it's not a nightmare and you're not flying somewhere to drive it back. I'm like, brilliant. It was tough, but I ended up just Googling in my area because I'm new here at this point. I'd only been here for 10 months, 11 months. I didn't know any places, and none of my circle here had been in a collision that needed, work done. So I just
Sure.
Googled and I went to Bob Maloney's and P Ridge. Shout out to them. Like they were, they kept saying sorry to me. I mean, they saw my car, they could tell I was emotional. Um, but they were just really accommodating. They were like, "Oh man, that is a beautiful car." We had Luan and I just put on the red caliper. Like this thing was like
Yeah.
mint. I didn't have a scratch or dent on this car. Like even for being on track as much as it was. Of course, I was pitted in the front end. I didn't care, but the rest of the car was absolutely immaculate and perfect. And we'll get to that. It took a lot at the auction, but so I brought it to this Bob Maloney's in Pea Ridge, Arkansas. They helped me get the car off. They looked at it and he said, somebody will call you tomorrow. The person called me the next day. They said, look, it's going to take me like 3 or 4 hours to assess everything on this car. I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen worse. I've also seen better. And I think you're totaled. And it was an emotional breakdown for me. Full on tears at work. I'm like, no, like can't be. This got to be repairable. Um, he's like, well, can you put me in contact with your insurance provider? So they had adjudicated the claim, or whatever the terminology is. They basically pushed the claim down through subrogation to another analyst to second view or second opinion.
Sure.
Um, so that went to let's see, claim got sent to a claims adjuster, applied to underwriters for that area. And then they ended up, they were great. Like Gwendolyn was awesome. And yes, her name was Gwendolyn. I was like, what is this, like Robin Hood days? But it was awesome.
Wizard
Great,
of
great
Oz.
gal. And then they sent it to field auditors, which was Dylan DeFranco with Ingle Martin. So his team went out and did the second assessment, and he called and we had talked. He asked me what happened. He said, how hard did I think I hit? And I was like, I don't know. The PDR says like 30, or I think it actually said like 16 or 18 when I hit the wall on the PDR. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I tried to slow it down. I'm not, even though I worked for a technology company for a long time, I try to avoid technology in life. So I'm just not really good at it. Um, but he's like, the pictures that I looked at and their assessment, like, I think it's gonna be told, man, and I'm sorry. And I needed a few seconds. Like he could tell I just needed a minute. So I literally took like a minute or two and he just stayed silent on the phone while I was emotional. I was in a lunch line at work, like at the cafeteria. And I'll
Yeah.
never forget it because I was just like, oh no, man, like don't give up yet. Like you gotta go
Yeah.
look. Like it's salvageable. Let's go.
We're
Um,
not calling it clear.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is like a child, to me. And
Yeah.
he told me, I don't think it's gonna help. It's probably inappropriate, but I think some dude was on track with you guys in a Porsche Cup car, and he hit backwards into the wall. Like that's a significantly bigger claim than yours, and a much harder car to get. He's like, you could get back into your car if you really wanted to. You
Yeah.
could find it, not the same one, but one like it. But he's like,
Right.
I'm just letting you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. He's like, I've been through this. I understand you. I'm one of you. So he was just awesome, just a great dude. So the claim was filed 5-5. I would say like I was getting a ton of updates until the auditor went there or the claims analyst went there. And then it was like radar silent. I'm like, what's happening? And what I found was retrospectively looking at it was they were communicating with my bank because I still had a value on this car. It was
Sure.
certainly way under market value. Like I'd been double paying, put a lot
Right.
down. I was
Yeah,
getting
you were
close to
way
paying
ahead
this.
on
I
the
was getting
property.
ready to pay this car off.
Sure.
And
And
like,
it was 2023 that you
yeah,
bought new. So yeah, you were
100%.
doing
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So like I'm well ahead and I'm like, what is taking so long? Is it my bank? And he's like, it might be your bank. He's like, but I'm like, I'm sorry to keep calling and emailing, but I'm just looking for an update. And he's like, well, they're moving towards salvage. And so at this point, they were going out to bid in the secondary market to see what it's worth. And I didn't pull up the actual like pitch or what the top bid was, but he basically said it was 2 to 3 times what a normal car would go for in my collision because of everything we had done to the car and how clean the car was, and the fact that probably the motor was still solid and the
Yeah.
supercharger and everything else. Drivetrain looked great, but the frame rails were bent. And the airbags went off. So they told me it was basically like $78,000 repair bill, and I had taken out a $75,000 policy because that's what those cars were going for right now, used,
Yeah.
because you couldn't get them anymore. So I wasn't being egregious. I didn't try to overinflate
Sure.
my car. Like
No,
that's
yeah,
what the
you did the
value
right
would
thing.
be. And it's 10% deductible, so I owe $7,500 and $75,000 policy. And I do this every track day, by the way. Like I've given 10,000, maybe 20,000 to track days, probably even more, between that and my Hellcat. And so at this point, he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be totaled."
Yeah,
From the point,
your Hellcat came with dock fees though.
yes, it was dock
And
fees, but and
gasoline on the
also
water is way more expensive. So
caution wake zone. Um, it was still fun on track. It was just a
it
big
was.
dumb animal.
Yeah.
Um, but I finally got the call. This was probably 2 weeks later at this point now. It was probably 2 weeks that I got the call, and then I got the official offer if I wanted to buy it back. And it was low 20s. Like, do you want to buy this? And I'm thinking through my life situation. Somebody else that's like more handy than I am can weld, can bend frames. 10 out of 10 times you're taking that car back for 20 grand. It don't matter because you can't buy the car anymore,
Right.
right? I don't have my own garage right now. I wasn't trying to consume this garage or my family member's garage down here. And I also had other life plans. So I just said like, no, I'm gonna walk away. So that one of the hardest decisions I've ever made was to let that one go. Also, after I'd done a ton of research, talked to Luan, talked to some other buddies, it was not going to be in my life, in my eyes, was ever going to be a dedicated track vehicle. So I still need the airbags to deploy as they should. I still need everything to work as it should. If I'm bringing my child or my children at this point now in life, or my lady or my friends or family, like I just at that point was like, she served her purpose for me and for Cameron, and I'm just gonna walk away. That's my own decision. I'm not trying to influence anyone else. Everyone's got a different life. You have to decide
Yeah.
what's best for you, but that was what was
No.
best
And
for
and I
me.
And I think what you did in your situation absolutely was the right thing to do, as hard as that may have been to do. I think you made the right call.
Yeah, appreciate that. I mean, when I go back through it, when you sent me that little teaser of me asking Cameron if he's okay, like, man, it was. I think I text back like right away, like well, not right away because I think I was in a meeting, but I was like, wow, PTSD or something like that,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
it's
it
real.
was
It's
real,
real.
and it's still like hard to talk about it because I think especially us dudes, like testosterone flowing, even if it's not as much as it was when we were 19, 20.
Yeah.
um it's hard to admit fault, and it was totally my fault. The car didn't screw up, I screwed up. And that's a hard thing to say, and it's really humbling to say, like,
Yeah.
this is my fault, that beautiful engineered piece of machinery is no longer with me. It's completely my fault. I was blessed to have it in my life for the time period I had. The interactions I had with Al, with you, with my family, with my daughter, with my gal, her boys, like sharing it to the world was one of my prides. So it's completely my fault. And that's humbling. So it's hard for us dudes to acknowledge that. But yeah, I definitely screwed that up. I screwed it up. It was my fault. But
Yeah.
look.
Going back to what you said, and it took me, I think, a full day to really recognize when I had my wreck in the kink that it was my error, it was my fault, and it could have 100% been prevented. And that's the hard pill to swallow for a lot of us. Um, but I think that's what helps us get to that next level of on track performance. That's an HPD. So we're not
Yeah,
out
it's
there
not
setting
time
records.
trial.
We're
This isn't,
not,
yeah.
it's not
It's
wheel
not
to
grid
wheel.
life.
This is yeah,
Like
it's
we're just having
um,
fun.
right, right. And I think sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow to realize that we're the ones that screwed up and could have went a different way. So it's nice in a way. It's nice to hear you say that and accept that because it's a way to move forward and recognize that the next time you're out there in whatever car you get, and if you end up in a Z06 or a Grand Sport from Alan Johnson, driven with Alan, shout out, I'll link something here if I can.
Love Al. Great dude. Greatest dude.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get you back out on track.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt. I'll be back on track. I'm not worried at all. What I would tell, the one last point that I would throw out to the viewers too is like from claim creation to claim close, it was
Yeah,
31 days, calendar days. It was 23 business days from claim filed to cash in my account. I think
that's pretty impressive.
that's pretty spectacular. I didn't know what to expect. I fully expected like interviews under a hot spotlight, like everything I had experienced on the regular roads, it was not that experience. These people are like, they know we're hobbyists. But what I would recommend to your viewers is if you've been skating by and like I haven't had it this time, Luan's first time buying track insurance was the year he wrecked.
Yeah,
That was not by fault, and he can't even take
which
credit for that. Like, I think Mike and I had given him enough tough words to be like, okay, dude, you're not invincible and you're not the best driver ever to exist. And I know that's humbling too to say that on your channel. You'll probably edit it
yeah,
out.
no, I'm not the
But
best driver.
but we
I'll
were
be the
like,
first one to tell you
Mike
I'm not the best
Mike
driver.
was the one that said, like, I always get track insurance because
Yeah,
I'm paying on this car for sure as a
right.
minimum. Because your standard road insurance won't cover it. And so, but you were like, you know what? It's this whole world's weird. Whatever
Yeah,
whatever took you over that edge, I'm glad it happened. Whether it was divine intervention, I'm glad that worked out for you that way, because it would have been traumatic if there's a kid. If he watches your channel by chance, man, I am so sorry. He was in I don't remember if it was before or after me, head injury. But he coupe Hyundai, I think it was a Elantra N, kink. He was in
mm,
the red class,
yeah, novice.
novice class, and
Yeah,
he missed the apex and he went grass and he flattened the driver's side by a good 4 to 6 inches. It was his daily driver. He just bought it, and he was making payments and did not have track insurance. And when I heard that, my soul left my body, like for him,
Yeah,
you know.
it's a
And
hard
he's just a
decision.
young pup too, and he's so proud
Right.
of his car. Like, I'm older now, Luan. You're still younger. Yeah, I'm just gonna
By
say
like 7 months.
but you know, like with age comes wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, you kids, younger guys getting into this, like, get track insurance. If you can't make the bank, maybe go do what's it called, where
Autocross or
autocross.
something that's,
You
yeah.
know, you got
There's
runouts
still
now.
risk there, but there's a lower amount of risk
Yeah, yeah. So I know
for
we're
sure.
we're super long here, but if I can save one person from that, like, and obviously we're not sponsored by the insurance companies, but I will tell you that the fact that they support our hobby is amazing. I love it. I'm glad that some actuary is saying it's possible that we can
Yeah.
make money on this somehow. Because I don't understand how they do. Now going through it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, thank you.
Well,
You know?
we can run the numbers real quick. They make a lot of money,
Yeah, I'm sure.
but when they pay out, they have to pay out. So,
Yeah, and the fact that, like, $500,000 car also wrecked that day, and the
yeah,
same dude that's analyzing my car is analyzing theirs. Like, those are big payouts. So,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, it adds up. I'm sure they make money on it. They're insurance companies. I'm not, like, making them not evil.
They're
Let's be
okay.
clear. But
OpenTrack, you're doing just fine.
just fine. But I'm just glad that it's an opportunity. It's an option for us. The fact that there's an option is great.
Absolutely. Yeah, because there isn't an option in a lot of other high risk, dangerous
Right.
hobbies,
Yep.
right? So if you love skydiving,
Yep.
you know, a lot of your health insurance or life insurance policies won't cover if something happens while you're skydiving. If you're into, you know,
Splunking, like Batman.
sure, yeah, right, or rock climbing or whatever it might be, you know, free solo climbing or free solo, whatever it's called.
Read the
Like,
small print. Read the small
yeah,
print.
there's no there isn't somebody who's going to be like, oh, you fell off a rock and you lost your leg. Where here's $1 million. Like, a lot of hobbies that are dangerous don't have the option. And yeah, I'm also thankful to like OpenTrack and Haggerty and any of the other track day insurance providers, which is really cool. I know we are running a little long. We've got we're about an hour and 10 minutes into this.
You can cut this down to 15
I'm going to cut this
minutes.
down to like 6, 7, 8 minutes.
Perfect.
And it's just going to be a lot of hard cuts of you just going,
Yeah.
But
Hi. Make sure you like and subscribe.
and that's it. That's the whole video. So for those that have stuck around this far, thank you. I am going to show the entire session of Matt's final ride in the ZL1. It'll be PDR footage right after this. So
Appreciate you doing
thanks for
that.
joining us, Matt. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to kind of give your experience. And you know, until we see each other again at Coda, and to the viewers, till the next time, till the next project, we'll see you then.
All right, let's have fun.
Shake big, baby.
Oh no, that's it. Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Are you okay? You good? Hey,
Yeah,
you good?
yeah.
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm so sorry.
I'm good. Don't worry about it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
I thought I saved it.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Fuck. Are you okay?
I totaled my car.
You did, but that's okay. Because you're okay. I'm okay. You're okay. It's all that matters, brother.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.